Welcome back, Sunrise. We're talking 20 New Year resolutions. I mean, the year is winding down.
2019.
Yeah, New Year resolutions. So, but Dr. Mbom, I asked Pastor Abraham the question about why do New Year resolutions when you can do past year reviews? And he says it's necessary for you to do the reviews for you to even begin to step forward. Do you agree with him?
Yes, you have to know where you're coming from before you can be able to determine where you're going to. If you don't review what you have done, you will not be able to determine your deficiencies.
But would that work if you're insincere? I mean, sometimes some people are insincere with themselves.
Yes, you lie to yourself.
Yes, some people lie to themselves. I mean, I want to feel like I belong. I said I was going to, for want of a better example, I said I don't smoke. Okay, so I said I was going to stop smoking, but my friends
are still smoking.
So would that work if I'm not sincere with myself?
Being sincere with oneself is one of the easiest things that you can do. Because most of the time we have what we call the phenomenon of self-presentation. Because you're going out there where people are going to see you. You wear a coat. And then you paint the facade. But you can't tell a lie to yourself.
Oh, cool.
Okay? So I have realized that it's much more easier to deal with yourself. It's when we have a public out there that we want to, that's right. We want to impress that we go into all manners of emergency coping behaviors. So that we can be able to.
But do we really need to wait for a new year to do a resolution? Can't you look at, I mean, every day, every step, as a wellness coach, you find out that you live for a week and find out something's wrong. I mean, for instance, you're having pains in your waist because maybe you have too much of sugar in your system. You make a resolution to change your eating habit. Do you have to wait till New Year to make resolutions?
Well, making resolutions and carrying them out demands that we make short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Because they all fall into different categories. A New Year is a milestone. Okay? You stop and say, I've gone this much. How did I go? So because when you plan things, we call that normalizing. So at the end of the day, you have to look at the norm and look at the practice. And then basically you're going to see a gap. When you see a gap, then you bridge the gap. So it's a process that's absolutely important. When it comes to health, most of the things we are today, and we call our illness to ourselves. Most of us believe that it's either a punishment from God or it's the Babalawo who cast a spell on you. We forget that we do it to ourselves.
Yeah, the consequence of that.
She was talking about eating. The quality of fuel you put in the system determines how the engine is going to work. Talking about exercise, servicing the engine so it will not break down on the highway.
So you are what you eat.
You are what you eat, you are how you move. Because look, we've been sitting down here for a while now. When you sit down for more than 2 minutes, all your biochemical processes are depressed to the tune of 75%. Your blood flow, sluggishly, 25%.
Oh, we sit here for 3 hours, Doctor.
So they need to stop.
We need to
Make
work out some ways.
Long circulate, long ventilate, so that the cells will not be starved of oxygen. And
oh dear. No, Pastor. Do we need to make New Year resolutions at all?
The question actually is a bit of a complex one. Do you need to make plans? Is the question I would like to ask. A resolution.
Yes, you make plans, but you're not making resolutions.
Yeah, you see, a resolution is maybe just a step forward from your plan. I've made a plan, now I'm going to fulfill it. Okay, so I think that you can choose not to make a resolution. You can choose not to even have a plan, but clearly if you live like that, you probably will find out that you haven't achieved the things that you really want to achieve in life. So I would recommend that, like Jack said, the beginning of a year or the end of a year is a very good time to reflect. I think that is nature or God himself giving us an opportunity to recalibrate. I'm a student of the Jewish lifestyle, and I know that they do put brakes on at the end of the year. They stop. and they reflect, and then they recalibrate and launch out in the new year. It's a process that I believe every human being needs. Even God himself said, look, after 7 days or 6 days, take a break. Even himself took a break. So there's this thing about taking that break, but it's not just sitting down passively. It is also thinking through, what did I do well in the last week? What am I going to do well in the next week? And in that one day, you have a moment of reflection, even inflection, and then you come out with a plan of what you are going to do going forward. So I think resolutions are very important. I think they're important. I just think that when people make resolutions, they're not clear about what they're doing. They think, oh, this is my wish. It's my wish list for next year. A resolution is not really a wish list. A resolution is a commitment to a course of action.
You need to redefine that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think it's a wish.
Yeah, that's the error. That's the error. And that's why a lot of people don't make it. That's why they don't achieve the resolution, because they think it's only a wish list. Okay, this year I am going to. But they say it as a wish, not as a purpose, an intention.
But staying with you, the resolutions, a lot of people make health-related resolutions or set health-related goals. But what other areas can resolutions be made?
Oh, it covers every aspect of your life, your relationships, your family, your wealth, your work, your career, things like education. It covers everywhere.
Does it also include conversations?
Yes.
How you talk?
Yes. Yes. You can't make resolutions about, I'm going to listen more. I'm going to listen. I'm going to be very, very intentional about listening to people now rather than just talking every time. So it covers everything. So when you are doing your resolution, I would say, as a rule, do not make too many. If you make too many, you are likely to be frustrated. Just make a few. Yeah, just make a few. A few that you can achieve. If you operate using the SMART principle, you will get your resolutions right.
Okay. Dr. Mbom, let me read this out. What are your hopes and dreams for the new year? Someone wrote here, said, personally, I want to find balance in my life. I want to be more open about my opinions and get enough sleep so that waking up feels easier. Typical things that an adult would do. For some, being an adult means paying your bills on time and having a designated time for da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So, being an adult, how do I say it? Being old and being a youth, does that change the way you make your resolutions?
Well, in psychology, we have 3 types of personality types. We have the child, we have the adult, and we have the parent. If somebody's passing by a room door and you hear noise inside, it's not fair, I want this, I want that, that's the child talking. Because the child has needs and wishes, but they don't have the capability. There's a gap between what they want and what they can get. And they need a parent, an adult, to fill the gap. So most of the time, they are frustrated. Then the adult is like, I don't need you to open the door for me. I can open it myself. That's an adult. He has needs and wishes and has the capability to bridge the gap. Then parents determine the road to take. No, you can't go that way. This is what you must do. No. So basically, you need more of an adult and parent personality type to be able to succeed. So that is extremely important. When you make a wish, we're talking about resolutions. Yeah, resolutions are not wishes because the name itself is self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Resolve. You are determined, but you need self-discipline. No? Without self-discipline, you cannot be efficient as a leader.
Can you meet your resolutions without the parent personality there helping? He talked about earlier about having an accountability partner. Let me, if I can use that phrase. Would that help in any way?
Well, I usually tell people that for you to be well or healthy, you need to appoint your board of directors of people who encourage you, who support you, who hold you accountable. You can't do it alone. Social support is a very important factor in anything you do in life. Your immediate environment can either sink you down or it can lift you up. So basically, you can't succeed, without people who will support you, will hold you accountable, will push you,
What kind of people would they be?
Well,
friends, family,
you
colleagues, employees,
you
employers?
always start from your immediate circle. Your family first and foremost. They are there for you. They have a stake in what you become. I remember, my children, every one of them had something to do to make sure that daddy can be there to provide that roof and then provide the needs. My son, the last one, when he was 2, his own job was to make sure that every time I drive home, he comes to carry my wallet. If anybody tries to carry it, there's going to be a fight. Then when I reach inside the room, he has to remove my shoes. And then he'll be happy with himself. Everybody has a role to play. And we must organize ourselves in a manner mutually supportive for systems efficiency, so we don't work at cross purpose. So these are very important factors.
Okay, Acho or Modu says, we need not wait for January 1 of every year before we make resolutions. I think that every time a person notices a need that they need to adjust to, they should not wait till the new year to make resolutions. Resolutions are distorted by distractions. Stay focused.
Austin Agu says, PYR, that's previous or past year review, are more informed, valuable, and accountable than half blindly looking forward with broad resolutions. Pastor Barama, you're nodding. Is that a norm for people to have broad resolutions that they more or less are not able to follow through?
I mean, if you just take a sample of people and ask them, what's your resolution, and you hear what they say, you would recognize that a lot of it has not been informed by deliberate thinking. It is just spontaneous. It's what I want to do, is what I want to do. But when you hear some other people talk about resolutions, you will know that it came out of a time of reflection or inflection. They've thought about it. And that's where review comes into play. You cannot decide that you want to do something without really assessing where you're coming from, and also assessing whether you really have what it takes to get there. And if you don't have what it takes to get there, what are the things you are going to have to add to yourself to get to that place? So who are the partners you have to form? Who is your accountability group? Those kind of things are very important. It's a very deep subject, and it's a very wide subject, but I also think that people can start off just with a little bit of intentionality. One, review where you are. Do an assessment of yourself. Honest assessment. Like you said, don't lie to yourself. Honest assessment. I failed here, I did well here, and be specific. And then, what do I really want? What do I really want? I did something some years ago. I was going through my old files, and I realized that I'd been writing plans for myself. Every 5 years, I want to be this, I want to be this. And to be honest with you, when I checked it, I saw that my life actually went in the direction of those plans I made, even though I was not as intentional at that time. I was just writing them down that in 5 years, I want to be this, I want to be that. And I noticed that my life went in that direction. So sometimes it's out of those times of reflection that you come up with those things that you know you must do. I must do this, I must do this, I must do this. And then you make a plan of how you are going to achieve it. Because to be honest with you, making a resolution without a plan of how you are going to execute your resolution is actually, it's going to lead you to frustration. You'll be frustrated because you will not really get there. You have to be clear about how you are going to get there. And I think that's one of the challenges that a lot of people have. Yes, I want to lose weight, but how am I going to lose the weight? I want to read 2 books. Okay, what does that mean every day for me? Does it mean now I have to increase my pages or my chapters from 2 to 3 or 4? It's as intentional as that. Once you get that right, you are well on the way to achieving your resolutions.
Okay, we're winding down. Dr. Ibom, final word.
Well, I want to add to the fact that if you have a resolution, first of all, there must be a need identification. Okay? Once you identify a need, that's something solid. That's something that has to be done. And you make a resolution on making sure that that need can be fulfilled. Then that's a core thing that you cannot depart from. But if you just sit down, spontaneously, a resolution without identifying a core need that has to be fulfilled, and then making a plan, step by step, and getting a review mechanism so that you can get a feedback of how your efforts are working, so you can upgrade and dictate.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Jack Mbom is a wellness consultant, and Pastor Charles Abraham, a clergyman or minister of the gospel. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts. And we do hope our viewers, you're making your resolutions, if you've not already made them, but as I say, locate a need and then make a resolution towards meeting that need. That's it on this segment. Sunrise will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.